Hello everyone, and welcome back to, I guess I can just call this storytelling method. To catch you up on what's happened in just the Terraria world, the Eye of Cthulhu kicked my ass, I kicked its ass, and then a goblin army showed up. And now I have Terraspark boots, because I managed to find literally everything but the rocket boots all at once. I finished up a little bit more of this town, making a little space over here. I'm working on the ocean town and this frost town. You can see a star of a big cactus over here, which actually should give me an easy way up to that sky lake. That'll be nice. The only thing I'm trying to get right now is a horseshoe balloon, and for that I need a cloud in a bottle. But I'm going for the balloon in a bottle, really, so we're going to be going fishing for a while. See if I can get some crates. That should actually give us some opportunity, though. English. I'm going to talk about a different aspect of storytelling today. Villains. Villains are the villains just is a general overview. In reality, it's more so an antagonistic force, something driving the hero, giving them something to do, I guess. But villains, an actual face for whatever their problem is of course something that is a pretty easy to do plot device, though well done is debatable. I'm going to be talking about how to do a villain well, and two examples of a villain I believe done who had their arc done right and arc done wrong. Starting with how to do a villain. I drank that, right? Yeah, okay, cool. The best way I can say to make a likable villain would be to give them a lot of screen time in some way, shape, or form. This is going to pick up me doing my picking up this necklace that I have on my desk. Absolutely, my mic has been more sensitive these days. But villains are the big bad of the thing, and I feel like a lot of them don't get nearly as much screen time as they should in order to be understood, in order to be liked. Happy Chaos from the Guilty Gear story, Strive story. He is on screen for 50 minutes of the full 4-hour thing. Nearly a quarter of the time, we get to know how he is, and get to enjoy his very fun personality, even if he a bit broken. That's very nice. And because he wins, he is a pretty good villain in the end. He is able to actually make his plans and make them work. Though that's another story. Another one I could say is Thanos. We get a hint of him at the end of the very first Avengers movie, I believe. And from there, it's a slow rise until his actual reveal in the two Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, I believe. We hear about him through Gamora, and he is talked about as someone who is after the Infinity Stones for whatever reason. We learn a lot more about it in Infinity War, where he takes up, I honestly want to say, half the movie, and wins. Now, winning is not something that a villain has to do in order to be a good villain. Both examples I did managed to achieve their goal in the end. Having a villain achieve their goal is something that's not done often, but still should not be done often, because it's only the greatest threats, the smartest, the best of the villains would be able to do that. Happy Chaos is able to use literally any magic he wants. Oh, we should have a gold crate. And he is able to he planned out the entire White House thing basically in advance. He was prepared for just about every scenario and could ad-lib his way through whatever he needed to. So he managed to actually freaking not intervene, improvise. He was able to improvise his own solution. from his circumstances. Thanos had just been planning for years, and the stones just make him incredibly over-fucking-powered. So, him losing with 5 of the 6 stones in his possession was laughable. And they gave him a chance to have lost, with the whole "you should have aimed for the head" thing. Although there is that one animation that makes it so they just cut off his hand instead, which, I mean, that's another acceptable solution. But yeah, lots of screen time so you get to know the villain, their motives, and all of that. They don't have to be particularly sympathetic. Like, do you feel bad for Happy Chaos? Maybe, but he's having a ball of it, so who cares, right? Like, you don't have to make them likable entirely, but you have to at least explore who they are. They are still a character, usually, even if they don't appear for most of the film, or story, I guess. Now, time to talk about 2 villains that I particularly, well, now I'm going to use as case studies in this case. The first being, well, let me also prelude this with, I know everyone's feelings on this particular show. I understand, even though I'm still someone who quite enjoys it, mostly for the world of it. That's a lie. We do it for the funny green side of it. But Ruby, that Rooster Teeth series, which has been on the downward slope with its actors and its story since, like, the death of Montione. I swear, over the past few years, it's just been a fucking circus. Despite that, we can still at least look at it as a case study of, if not what to do, then what not to do. And for our first villain, we're going to look at Adam Taurus, the obsessive ex-boyfriend of Blake Belladonna, who was trying to both manage the White Fang and get back at his ex for breaking up with him, because he's just that obsessive. As far as villains go, I think the living part of his arc, up until the very end, was fine. He was a major antagonist in the whole attack on Vale, being one of the 3 groups, being the Atlas droids, the White Fang, and the forces of Grimm against Beacon. And he had a vague showing of going specifically after Blake at the end, showing his obsessiveness. Okay, fair enough. He didn't show up, but you can still... Okay, I'm going to admit, it's one of the weaker points. They did not show him as the leading force behind the Vale White Fang. By the end of that, you can see, oh, he's the one behind it, of course, okay. But no, I don't think they really showed him as that. They just showed that the White Fang was cooperative with them. Which, I mean, thanks, I guess. Volume 4 shows a rise to power for him, taking the position of actual supreme leader of the White Fang. And then Volume 5 shows that being basically thrown out the window by his own obsessive actions, having sent some agents after Blake, who uses that as a means of being able to unite her people. You know what? Fair enough. Volume 6 is where I think he falls off. Besides that bit in, like, volumes 1 through 3 where we don't really see him at all. I think he might be hinted, but it's been ages. I can't stand the volume 1, like, animation style. Volume 2 gets so much better. He doesn't appear, like, I think, at all in volume 6. Except for at the end. During the whole, like, the big climactic frickin' encounter. That's it. That's the only time I think he appears entirely. Is just for chasing down Blake and then dying. And then after that, since he was a big impact on the 2 people who killed him before they killed him, he gets nothing. This man disarmed Blake, literally, and gave her PTSD, not Blake, Yang, and gave her PTSD, and was a controlling, obsessive influence on Blake's life, and neither of them have, like, any, not remorse, because he was kind of a psychotic jackass in their eyes, let's be real, but they don't think about, like, there's no hint of his presence left. He's gone for them. Like, it's not some surreal dream that they killed him or something. And maybe I'm just putting too much value on the fact that they committed murder. Justifiable, but murder. Oh, the potion ran out. After this fish. My idea for how that would have went is over the course of volumes 7 and 8, they, in the shadows of Mantle, hear whispers of him. Potentially see figures watching and then slipping into the darkness or something, you know? Like, they still have ghosts of him, and it's mostly individual hallucinations. Like, self-hallucinations of him. And together, they managed to at least pull through it, you know? Since they basically wanted Blake and Yang to be a thing, why not have this as a bonding, you know? And then as it builds up to Volume 8, the end of Volume 8, where Blake and Yang are basically some synchronized team, they, like, have mostly overcome it on their own. Good for them. And then I believe Volume 9, I haven't seen Volume 9, I've only seen, like, clips from around, and none really of Blake or Yang. But I do feel like the island would be a very good opportunity to have that that ghost of Adam reoccur, and finally cemented as he is in their past. He is no longer influencing them. Like, Volume 9 should have been the end of his legacy, I think, as a villain. Is that what happened? I actually don't really know. I don't, because I haven't watched Volume 9, and my motivation to is basically freaking down the gutter. And mostly just because I'd rather be doing this, like fishing in Terraria. Next case study, though, is one that I think they did right. Neapolitan. I'm going to just preface this with, I advocate for character growth a lot of the time, but for Neo in Volumes 2 and 3, when she's introduced as Roman's right hand, she has no need to grow. Her place in the world is at Roman's side, and she is content with it, being the sassy, skilled, sadistic person she is. Volume 4 and 5 comes around, not just 4, and she's lost Roman back in Volume 3. She doesn't know what to do, really, so she ends up blaming the face of that operation, the one who was Salem's liaisons, I believe the word is, Cinder. Volume 6 shows that she has spent those 2 volumes trying to make herself stronger in order to be able to take on Cinder. Cool. Like, having her reveal, I think, was, they hinted at it, I believe, in volume, like, over Twitter or something. As far as actually hinting that she would come back in the story, hasn't really been anything. But they also did say we didn't see her die on screen, so she wasn't dead. Fair enough. Fine. I can't actually dispute that fact. Volume 6 shows her end up turning her hatred onto Ruby. Volume 7 and 8 has her helping Salem in her as a spy of sorts, I guess, because her semblance allows her to change her appearance. And Volume 8 shows, and then of course the end of Volume 8 where she's able to actually confront Ruby. That particular spot doesn't really move her plot forward or anything, but we're able to actually see how intense her, not emotion, but hatred, I guess, is, how distraught she is over what happened. And then they go to the island, and I believe what happened was more or less what I would have wanted to. where she's able to end up not forgiving Ruby, but realizing that it's just not worth it to do the way she has been, because it wouldn't bring him back. The Cheshire Cat used her, and she saw that it's over. I have once again terribly butchered telling someone's story. But I do think that her arc of revenge into giving it up was well done. And if anyone else would like to research this and actually see what I am talking about, that is always well encouraged. I will always encourage you guys to look up stuff for yourselves. Because despite me talking about it, how it's actually executed and written by more professional people than I makes all the difference. The potion has worn off again. But yeah, as far as villains go, Adam, I think, was not used properly for what he was, and Neo, I think, ended up doing pretty good despite being a minor antagonist through and through. The only other thing I would have to say about her is, I don't know, if they ever go back to, like, building up the world of Remnant, that after the fact, someone ended up, like, being a opposing force in the black market of Minstrel to Miss Malachite. That'd be pretty funny. Just Neo ended up becoming a crime boss in her own right. I think that'd be pretty fitting. She's not, like, going to end up being some saint. She's just gonna keep doing what she does. And that's fine by me. Yeah, that was kind of it, though, you know? Like, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just how to make a good villain. Well, how to make a good villain, which is have them have quite a bit of screen time so that the viewers can get to know them. And then a couple case studies of how you should potentially make your villain's arc. You should consider their motive for how their arc should go. In the case of revenge, Neapolitans is certainly a very good way to go, or else just dying by the end of it, somehow breaking a cycle of revenge, maybe. I don't know. And Adams, his obsessiveness, there should have been a legacy because of his own impact on our lives already. As a summary to what I was just talking about. I'm absolutely trying to pad out time so that way I can make the most of this potion. In fact, I think instead I'm just going to cut it here, and I'll be back for a mass unboxing video. Ooh. Alright, I'll see you guys once this potion comes, wears off. Alright, welcome back. I can speak very good English, of course, but we have a load of crates from that. Like, very nice amount. 2 gold crates, amazing. Let us get to this. And over the mischief managed. Over the course of the time that I've been away from this, Asuka's come out in Guilty Gear. Burps. In Strive, I mean. And freaking Shadow Wizard Money Gang over there is a very fun character, despite, you know, just being kind of weird to use. Bear, at the very least, seems to enjoy him. I don't think I would... I'm honestly not even gonna try. But, hey. Whatever gets you, man. I do quite like his theme, though. Like, the gravity is a very, very nice theme. Alright, sweet. I have that. Snow. Yeah. Alright. Well, I got what I came here for, which is this Blizzard Ale bottle. So now I can make a horseshoe balloon, and from there, figure out what I'm going to do from there. Worm, I'm probably going to try and work my way up to a much stronger armor than lead and tungsten. So, yeah. I've been Highland Prism River. Thank you for listening to me just ramble on for however long it's been. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.